Welcome to St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. This college is affiliated to Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak, and approved by All India Council for Technical Education. This video lecture is a part of series developed for online classes. Hello everyone, my name is Ashish Tripathi and I am working as an assistant professor at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management since 2015. My areas of interest are data analysis and data visualization, which are recommended to be a data scientist. Logical Organization of Computer. It is a course in Maharshi Dayanand University for the BCA second semester. This course comprises of the flip-flops, registers, counters and memory circuits. So let's study about this course from the Unit 1. In today's session of Unit 2, we will learn about the counters, likewise synchronous and asynchronous counters. Counters. Counter is a sequential circuit. A digital circuit which is used for counting pulses is known as the counter. Counter is the widest application of the flip-flop. It is a group of flip-flop with a clock signal applied. Counters are of two types, asynchronous or the ripple counter and the synchronous counter. Here is a difference between the synchronous and the asynchronous counter. In the synchronous counter, it is with the help of a clock pulse. But in the asynchronous counter, there is no need of the clock pulse. All the flip-flops are clocked at the same time in the synchronous counter. That means there is a single clock and from that single clock all the flip-flop will be clocked at once. But in the synchronous counter, the clock input is given to the first flip-flop and the output of this flip-flop will become the clock input for the second flip-flop and so on. Hardware requirements for the synchronous counter are high because it needs every piece of wire from the clock to every flip-flop. But in the asynchronous counter, the hardware requirement is low. Synchronous counters work in a serial way, but the asynchronous counter work in the parallel way. Synchronous counter circuit is complex, but asynchronous counter circuit is simple as it has less number of hardware. Synchronous counter are costly and asynchronous counter are less costly. Synchronous counter are fast to execute, but asynchronous counter are slower because each and every time the output from the flip-flop goes in as the clock input for the other, so it requires some delay. Standard design are available for the synchronous counter, but there isn't any standard design for asynchronous counter. Synchronous counter has the minimum propagation delay. As soon as the input is given, the output comes out. But in the asynchronous counter, there is a delay time attached with each flip-flop, so more propagation delay. In the synchronous counter, more logic devices are used, but in the asynchronous counter, less number of logic devices are used. So here we are going to study about the asynchronous or the ripple counter. Here is a logic diagram for 2-bit ripple counter. The toggle T flip-flop are being used here. External clock is applied to the clock input of the flip-flop number A and the QA, which is the output from this flip-flop, is applied as the clock input for the flip-flop that second, that is flip-flop number B. So in this way you can see the ripple counters are going to work. You have to apply the logic 1 as the T input for each of the flip-flop. You have to apply the clock input directly to the first flip-flop, and the output from the first flip-flop will become the clock input of the other flip-flop. Below that you will see the state table resulting that initially when the clock is not applied, then the state of QB QA is 0 0. That means you are getting a decimal counter output as 0. When you apply the first clock signal, then the QA, that is the flip-flop A, will give the 1 output, but the clock of the QB is not being set up, so QB is at 0. Hence you are getting output 0 1, which is a binary equivalent of 1. Similarly in the second clock you are getting the QB output and the QA is as 0, so you are getting 1 0 as the binary output for 2. In the third clock you are getting QB and QA values as 1 1, so it is a binary equivalent for the 3, so the decimal counter value will be 3. And on applying the clock pulse 4, you are getting the QB as 0 and QA as 0, so it states the decimal counter for 0. Here is an operation table for the previous flip-flop. Here you can see that initially both of the flip-flop are in the reset state. That means QB QA is equals to 0 0, which is a decimal digit 0. On applying the first negative clock edge, flip-flop A will toggle and QA will become 1 from 0. QA is connected to the clock input of FFB. Since QA has changed from 0 to 1, so it is treated as a positive clock edge and we have taken negative clock edge. So there is no change in the QB, hence the output from the flip-flop B is negative edge trigger flip-flop, so it is 0. Hence QB QA equals 0 1, which is a decimal digit 1. After the second negative clock edge, FFA again toggles and now the QA becomes 0 from the previous one. This change is a negative change, hence flip-flop number V will be activated and so QB will also become 1. So we are getting QB QA as 1 0, which is a decimal digit 2. After applying the third negative clock edge, flip-flop A again toggles and QA will become 1 from the 0. This is a positive change, hence there won't be any FFB output and QB will become the same that was the previous. So QB QA will be 1 1, which is a decimal digit 3. After the fourth negative clock edge, FFA again toggles and QA will become 1 from the 0. This is a negative change in QA as it acts as a clock pulse for FFB also. So QB will also change from 1 to 0. Hence QB QA will become 0 0, which is a decimal digit 0. So this is a counter of 2 bit, hence it counts from the value 0 to the value 3, that is 0 1 2 3. There are 4 output and after giving the 4 output, it again reset back to the 0 condition. Synchronous counter. If the clock pulses are applied to all the flip-flop in a counter simultaneously, then such a counter is called the synchronous counter. Here is an example of the 2-bit synchronous counter. We have used J and K flip-flop. Since it is a 2-bit synchronous counter, so we are using two flip-flop, that is FFA and FFB. We have applied the logic 1 to the flip-flop number A to both J and K, and the clock is applied to both of the flip-flop. Just see that the output of the flip-flop A, that is the QA, is being applied to the input of the flip-flop B at JB and KB. So here you can see the operation of this synchronous counter. Initially both of the flip-flop are in the reset state, so QB and QA will be 0 0. After applying the first negative clock pulse, the FFA will toggle. And why it toggles? Because J and K received the logic 1 as the input, and you remember that if J and K both have the value 1 as the input, then it is a toggling case. Hence, after applying the first negative clock edge, FFA will become active and J and K will make the toggle for QA, so it will become 1. But also see that at that instant of time, the clock is also applied to the flip-flop number B, but the previous QA was 0. So JB and KB will receive the 0 value, hence there won't be any change in the QB, which was 0. Hence you are getting 0 1 as the output for QB QA. It is the value 1 for the decimal number. After applying the second negative clock edge, the flip-flop A will toggle and now the QA will become 0. But the previous QA, which was the 1, it will be applied to JB and KB, and now QB will toggle and it will become 1. Hence your output for QB is 1 and QA is 0, which is a decimal equivalent for 2. After applying third negative clock edge, flip-flop A will again toggle and now it will become 1. So QA will become 1, but there is no change in the state of flip-flop B because the previous QA was 0. Hence QB will remain at 1. Hence you will be getting QB QA as 1 1, which is the 3 decimal number. After applying the fourth negative clock edge, QA will again toggle and it will become 0. This toggling is initiated by the QB also because the previous QA value was 1. So QB will also toggle and now it will also become 0. Hence QB QA will be 0 0. So you have again reset the flip-flops. Up down counter. Up counter and down counter is combined together to obtain an up down counter. A mode control M input is also provided to select either up or the down mode. There are two types of up down counter: up down ripple counter and up down synchronous counter. Now up down ripple counter is, in this, the up down ripple counter, all the flip-flop operate in the toggle mode. So either T flip-flop or JK flip-flop will be used. The LSB means least significant bit. The LSB flip-flop receives the clock directly, but the clock to every other flip-flop is obtained from the Q or the Q bar output of the previous flip-flop. So if you want to have the up counting, you have to set the bit mode as 0, and if you want to have the down counting, then you have to set the bit mode M as 1. Modulus counter or mod n counter. You know what is the meaning of mod? The modulation is an operation in arithmetic such that it needs to find out the remainder when a number is being divided by another number. So if you are making a counter which is a mod counter, then suppose it is a 2-bit ripple counter, then you have to divide the number by 2. And what are the remainders? The remainders will be 0 and 1. So there will be 2 bits only. Similarly, if it is a mod 7 counter, then you have to divide the number by 7 and there will be 7 remainders. Likewise 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So there are many types of modulus, like 2-bit up and down, that is a mod 4, 3-bit up and down, that is mod 8, and 4-bit up and down, that is mod 16. The number of bits decide the bit number, 2-bit or 3-bit or 4-bit counter. For example, if you are making a 2-bit counter, then from these 2 bits you are making a 4 assumptions. Likewise 0, 1, 2 and 3. Hence it is a mod 4 counter. So let us quickly design a mod 10 ripple counter. As you know that designing a ripple counter is very easy. Here you have to find out how many flip-flop are going to be used. If I am using a mod 10 ripple counter, so if I am using the formula, it shows that 2 to the power 3 is less than 10 and is less than equal to 2 to the power 4. Hence, at least 4 flip-flop are necessary to design this counter. Here the counting starts from 0 and goes to 9. So there are 10 states of this counter. This is shown in the truth table also. At the extreme left hand side you can see the clock table. From T0 to T9 we have the countings from all the flip-flop, that is Q0, Q1, Q2 and Q3 as 0000, 0001. Likewise we have counting from 0 to 9. After counting to 9 the flip-flop resets. So here is the trick. If you have counted to the value 9, then the next number will be 10. Just write the 10 decimal number in the binary format against the output from the flip-flop. That is Q3 will be 1, Q2 will be 0, Q1 will be 1 and Q0 will be 0. This is the main criteria for designing the ripple counter. Here you can see that there is a 1 corresponding to Q3 and Q1 bit. So on the right hand side, if you are designing the counter, you have to make the 4 flip-flop. I have chosen D flip-flop. You can choose T also, you can choose JK also. So in the D flip-flop diagram, I have added a NAND gate in which the input is being supplied from the Q1 and Q3. This Q1 and Q3 is serve as the input to the NAND gate, and this output from the NAND gate is as a reset condition. So whenever there is a reaching out for the state 10, then all the flip-flop will be reset to the 0. This is the ripple counter. Okay, after designing the mod 10 ripple counter, we should design a mod 5 synchronous counter. But designing a synchronous counter is not so easy. You have to go step by step. Here you have chosen mod 5 as the ripple counter. So what should be the value of n? The value of n should be 5. Hence there is 5 state: 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. It is being shown in this state diagram also. Here you can see that you start from state 0, then go to 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 and again come back to 0. In the state table also you have to plot 2 states, that is the present state and the next state. As you can see that from the present state 0 you go to next state 1. From the present state 1 you go to 2. From the 2 present state you go to 3. From the 3 you go 4 and from the 4th one you go to the 0 present state. Now in the step 3, I am assigning the binary equivalent to these state. So it is the same state table as in the step 2, but now the decimal number has been replaced by the binary equivalents. So in the present state we have the 3 bit Q0, Q1 and Q2, and in the next state also we have the 3 bits Q0, Q1 and Q2. You can see that we have splitted the table in the after the 5 state, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You are getting the null outputs from the next state, because after this the table will be reset. In the step 4, we have chosen the J and K flip-flop because it is easy to design the circuit. We have created a excitation table for the J and K flip-flop corresponding to the present and the next state outputs. Similarly, we get the J and K corresponding inputs from this excitation table. We have chosen the X mark or the don't null condition for this. Here is the excitation map or the K map of each and every flip-flop. Since there was a 3 bit, so it is a 3 state K map. Solve the K map and we are getting the state equations for these flip-flops, that is J0, K0, J1, K1 and J2, K2. For the J0 we are getting Q0 as the output. For the K0 we are getting 1. For J1 we are getting Q0. For K1 we are getting Q0. For J2 we are getting Q0, Q1 dash, and for K2 we are getting 1. Here is the complete circuit diagram for the mod 5 synchronous counter. We have taken 3 flip-flop, namely flip-flop 1, flip-flop 2 and flip-flop 3. We have provided the input as was required by the excitation table or the excitation map. So this is a design of mod 5 synchronous counter. Okay, so after this session you are going to learn about the counters. Hence there are a few questions which you can do, namely what are counters, differentiate between the synchronous and the asynchronous counter. Next question is what are up and down counters. Third question is you have to draw the design of the mod 12 asynchronous counter. And fourth question is you have to draw a step-by-step circuit of mod 7 synchronous counter. Thanks for watching my video. Hope you have enjoyed the session. In that session you have learned about the counters, various type of counters, designing of the asynchronous as well as the synchronous counter. If you have any query you can contact me or you can drop me a message. This is the end of the unit 2 of this course. We will continue the lecture series from the unit 3. Till then, goodbye and take care.